Bye, kids. Off to school. Look, the water's going down. That's better. That's better. The beans might make it through there. Good morning. It's supposed to be a beautiful day. It's not yet, but that's okay. We'll wait. Plan is to go take a grain bin down to Berkey, so I think we're going to get our stuff around and head that direction here pretty quick. All right. Well, the sun's starting to peek out. This is going to work. Gonna be a little muddy working around the outside today, but that's okay. It's not as wet here as it is at Waldron, and it'll start drying off throughout the day. So anyway, that bin coming down. I think we need to try and take this sheet off so we can get our jacks shoved in there. Getting our jacks set up. Get this sheet out so we can get stuff in. Going down. Finally got the first ring done. It always takes the longest, but that 3/8 holes, you got the bottom flange you got to deal with. There's just a lot more to it. Well, it got short on us. Well, we're doing pretty good here. It is noon, lunchtime. We're going to go grab some lunch, but we've got 3 full rings off. Got another sheet out of the 4th ring so we could get out. This bin is, so we've already done these 2, right? These were both 21-foot diameter, so they were 7 sheets around. This is a 24-foot diameter, so it is 8 sheets around. And it's also 8 rings tall instead of 7 rings tall. So it's a extra sheet around and an extra ring. But we should still get it done pretty easily today, I would think. Should be no problem. Cool, it's lunchtime. Got 4 rings off. We're going to try and get this pile of sheets out of here. We think it'll be too heavy if we try and do it all at once. So, hands in the tractor there. I'm just lifting that up as far as she'll go. Let's see if you can grab him. Just like that. Now we go down. 4 more to go. It's down. Get the last of the sheets cleaned up, get the roof sheets out of there, put the jacks back in the trailer, and clean her up. Let's get out of here. Now the next step is to rent a concrete breaker, a jackhammer, or the skid steer, or mini excavator, or something, and bust up all these foundations. Get them out of here. Look, 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 look. There's dry dirt. It's drying off on top. We've had some sun today. Cool. Now we're still cleaning stuff up, getting it put away. Jack, you feel like a professional bin disassembler yet?
No.
Ah, you're not going into the business?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
Government pays me to do nothing.
Government pays me to do nothing. Yeah, that's about right. We got our 3 little ones done. I told Dad when we started this morning, I said, I hope the day never comes where I have to take that big bin down up at Waldron. That would be a bad day. A bad deal. So, anyway, we're getting Jack's stuff back in the trailer over there. 5 o'clock, time to go home. Okay. You feel like a professional yet?
No, I feel pretty toast.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
I ain't doing that no more.
They ain't doing that no more, he says. Yeah, well, we don't have any more to do. We had this ditch dipped last fall. The tile's flowing. And Dad came down here and seeded some grass seed when we were taking one of those other bins down. So we were just checking to see if it's growing. A little bit. It's starting to. I don't know if you can see it. But it's coming.
Like 90 feet or 120 feet.
Which way is this water supposed to be flowing?
This one goes down so you can get up
Oh.
to the 3rd or the 2nd trash can up there. Then it pulls you up.
I see. I was going to say, that water is going that way, but the ditch is a half mile that way.
You can see the break up there right in front of
Yep,
the
I see it. Yep, right there.
there. But see, there's
That tile's flowing.
I opened them up.
You opened it up, yeah.
There's like 10 or 12 of them.
You can see where they're pouring out.
I mean, we could use a lot more.
Look how clean the water is coming out of that field tile. But that's the problem, right? Made it back to the home farm here. It's so nice. Oh, it's one of those just perfect, beautiful days. Things are drying out, but it is much wetter here than it was at Berkey. You can definitely tell we've got more rain and more recent rain, which is what we had. So anyway, I'm heading home-ish. I am going home, but we're gonna get that gooseneck trailer unhooked from that truck, cleaning out the cab at least a little bit and stuff. I need to wash it and detail it and, you know, thank you for letting me use it kind of thing. So we're gonna go see if we can get out to check my emergence trial. It's not underwater anymore, so we're gonna wait another couple hours and see if we can get out to it without getting too terribly muddy. And maybe we'll go look at some other fields and stuff, drive around on the gator a little bit here this evening. Other than to run through the car wash once, this is the first time I've unhooked this since the day I got this truck. Yeah. Alright, somebody dropped off a box today. Put that away. Well, I got the floor mat out and washed that off a little bit. I need to go get my shop vac. It's not terrible in here. I only had the boys with me a couple of times, so there really wasn't too much activity in the back seat here, but we can shop back up some of their crumbs here a little bit. Not that the guy cares, but when somebody does you a favor, you try and take stuff back to them in as nice a shape and condition as you can. Okay, I got the inside of that truck cleaned out. It needs a good washing, whether I find a car wash or bring it down to the farm and hand wash it myself. We're gonna get that done. I have some stuff we're taking down to the farm here. And I'm gonna go look. They made a little progress on our building today. Well, they didn't make a lot of progress today, but it's a little bit of progress. That's good, I guess. See if they come back tomorrow. It's really nice, so, you know, we should be making progress. Let's see if this corner cracked. Is this tight? Yes. Yes. They shouldn't do that. Somebody left their pop can. Corner's still good. Okay, so let's talk about this crack over here that I showed you guys yesterday. I sent some pictures of it to the concrete guy. And he called me a little bit later and stuff, and he says, I know exactly what happened. They put this post on there, and they tightened the anchor bolts down, which, you know, fine, whatever. It was fine at that point. But then when they were setting the header across there, and they wiggle that post up there to get all the bolts to line up, you got a 16-foot lever, and you got everything's tight. There's nowhere for it to go. And so essentially they pushed out on that, and it pivoted and pushed down on this, and it cracked that concrete out. Now these anchor bolts are U-bolts, and they were set in the concrete, right? So it goes down and over and then up on this other side. So we're pretty sure the anchor bolts are structurally fine. It's not going to be an issue. But the concrete guy was he said, yeah, we need to give it some attention or fix it. He said they would come out and form up around this basically, and they can inject some epoxy or something in there, some resin to seal that up, try and hold it on there more or less just for aesthetics and to keep it from breaking off, because it's a new building and it's new concrete and it shouldn't do that. So they're going to take care of it. He's right. It's not a structural issue. It's not going to be a problem, but we don't want that big corner to be chunked off of there. So he said they should, when they're building these, leave all those bolts loose until the whole structure is assembled and then tighten them up at the end. And he's right. I mean, that's how you should do it. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on watching things tomorrow or how things progress. All right, let's go look at some crops. Well, here's the first planted corn. It looks really good. We're not going to walk out there because I don't need to. But you can see them can row them really nice. You can see all the nice rocks we got, including that one that needs picked up. There's 2 of them, 3 of them, 4 of them. Oy. Never-ending battle. Anyway, really happy with the way the corn looks here. Okay. Let's go see our beans through the gap over there. Nope, don't think we're going that way. We got quite a pond of some water here left in this corner. Yeah, that's not great. It'll get away, but we'll have to check on that corn afterwards. This is not the gator. This is my little golf cart-ish type thing, glorified golf cart. And it's 2-wheel drive, and we ain't gonna make it through there, so. Whoa! Well, that's no good. Missed. There we go. All right, are we gonna do this? So, you can kind of see where the residue washed up on the high water mark. Our 2 white flags down there is my emergence flagging trial, and I would like to go out there and see if anything is coming up. But it's muddy there. Maybe if I walk over here and try and take that little high dry spot that's likely a tile line and walk out there and then across and back. I don't know. This is going to be muddy. I'm not going to enjoy this. Oh yeah. Maybe in the tire track, be a little firmer. Yeah, that's not so bad. We've had the deer out here. Do we see any corn spiking up right here? What was that? Good when you hear stuff walking behind you. Look, dry spot. Rock. All right, let's try and get over there and see if we got it. I got my green day 1 flags. Yeah, right on the edge of the water line. There's our first flag. Look, right there. We got a corn plant, and I can safely say that one came today. He's very, very little. This is not going to be pretty. We're going to have like 1 or 2 day 1ers, and then hopefully tomorrow we get a bunch more. But, you know, I could pull the plug on this and go somewhere else. We could just move down onto drier dirt. That would be the logical thing to do. Or we can see what water standing on it for a day does to emergence and learn something from it. Let's do that. We'll try and do another one if we get another spot that's decent. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Well, I'm going to go through and I'm going to put a green flag next to every plant that I can find. Look at that. I'm pretty sure that's a bean leaf beetle already. Uh-huh. Looking for some soybeans to eat. That is why we use Cruiser Max. Because the Cruiser will take care of that problem. Now what about all this residue? Can I move that out of the way? Okay. That was the only one that I found, and I'm not convinced that's actually a corn plant now that I have looked a little closer, because, oh, like right there, that's grass. That's a weed. That's not a corn plant. And there was a couple other ones that were like that I'm thinking this one just happens to be just spiking through and right in a row. I don't know that that's actually a corn plant. We're going to leave that flag there so we can check it tomorrow, but I don't think we have anything coming yet. So let's move down here and do a little digging. Go to the dry dirt. We'll look down here, see if we find anything. That, I am sure, is a corn plant. Didn't take much to find it. I'm pretty sure we need another day here. Soil's fairly crumbly for as wet as it is. right there. They're just not quite poking through yet. Very, very close. Okay, well, that's good. Like I said, we're gonna leave that flag. We'll check it tomorrow and see if it's a weed or if it's corn plant. We'll be able to tell tomorrow, but hopefully day one trials tomorrow and we get, 30 of them. See, there's a grass and there's a new grass. Those are not corn plants. There's a few more. Our corn herbicide will clean those up, but it's a little wet to be spraying corn herbicide, isn't it? Okay. So let's talk about the ponding water situation where, so yesterday here, it rained yesterday. We had like an inch and a half, inch and 6/7 yesterday. But in the last 6 days, we've had 2.8 inches since we planted this. So it's plenty wet. Now the water is getting away very quickly. As you saw, this was totally underwater. Big area here. We're down to just a little bit there. Not the end of the world. The water, it was in my bean field over here. So look at that. It's gone. That's good. See all that out there? There's no water. Even this morning before we left to go take that bin down, we still had water out there. So that's gotten away, basically 24 hours, maybe a little over 24 hours since the water started ponding there, but really not too bad. Pause that conversation because look at our beans. Look at them, look at them, look at them. Oh, yeah. They're just popping. Lots and lots of them. That's excellent. Yeah, so these are the cotyledons, these little green, that's actually the seed. Soybeans are a dicot, so they will send a root down or a shoot down, push the seed up through the soil, which then, so you can see that one breaking through right there, which then kind of folds up, opens up, and you get these first little leaves right there. There's 2 leaves. Those are called the unifoliate leaves. Uni because there's one on each side and they're singular. Once those 2 come out, then we will start seeing our trifoliate leaves that have 3 leaves on a single petiole. Is that right? Yeah, I think that's right. Anyway, so these are just starting to open up and they're going to put big leaves on and grow and capture lots of sunlight this week, and that's awesome. So we like to see that. Everything looks great here. Obviously, it's wet. Beans don't like to be super wet. Hinders root growth, but we're going to dry up fairly quickly here because it's nice, dry, sunny weather, and that's the beans are in good shape. That's what I'm trying to say. But let's talk about those crops that are underwater, right? Because we do have some spots back in the corner there, the corn where we looked at, across the road, there's a little spot that have standing water, and it might be another day or 2 or 3 before some of those spots, that water goes away and gets out of there. So where we have planted, let's talk about corn first. Corn can survive 2 to 3 days underwater, I'm going to say. Now that can vary depending on temperature. Yesterday was very cool. That corn was not actively growing. So what do we know about crops is the warmer it is up to a certain point, the faster they grow, right? That's growing degree day accumulation. And so what happens is those plants, they're taking in carbon dioxide and they're taking in moisture through the roots and nutrients and stuff. And as they convert that carbon dioxide and do photosynthesis, it creates oxygen. They're using that water that they're bringing up through the roots, and they are transpiring, whatever. They emit some water vapor through the stomata on the bottom side of the leaves. It's how the plants breathe, more or less. When it's cool, plants breathe very slowly. So yesterday when it was 55 degrees out, it was cloudy, it was cool, those plants were growing very, very slowly. So they're trying to breathe, they're trying to suck in carbon dioxide, they're trying to put out oxygen. They can't do it because they're underwater, but they're trying to do it very slowly. Today, 70 degrees, they're going a little bit faster. Those plants are trying to breathe a little bit faster. They're trying to bring more carbon dioxide in. they're not going to last as long, right? They aren't going to survive underwater as long at 70 degrees as they would if it was 50 degrees and they weren't really growing that fast. As it gets hotter and hotter, you know, if you have 80, 90 degrees and you've got crops underwater and that water temperature gets really high because it's a shallow pool of water, those plants are trying to grow, they can't last 24 hours maybe under those conditions. So we were fairly fortunate. The first day it was cool. Plants weren't actively growing, and so they can survive that. Today got a little bit worse, but we've gotten rid of most of the water. So are we going to lose some spots? It's probably going to happen. There are some spots that are still pretty big pools of water that, yeah, we might lose some of that. But it's not going to be as bad as we maybe first thought as it looked yesterday. And so we're just kind of playing a waiting game here. We've got to let the water get away. We've got to let these crops grow a little bit and then go out and see what we've got left. Is it possible we're going to have to replant some corn? It's possible, yes. I don't think it'll be significant. I'm not really that concerned about it. In order to get a crop insurance replant claim, you have to replant at least 20 acres or 20% of your acres. So for us, that would be a 20-acre minimum. I don't know that we're going to get 20 acres, so not a big deal. Soybeans, let's talk about soybeans, right? So soybeans are very similar in how they're growing and breathing and stuff, but they're a little bit more fragile, I guess is the word. They can't survive quite as long. Where I would give corn 2 to 3 days, I'll give beans 1 to 2 days. So the fact that that water hole over there is empty now is great. Those beans are probably going to live through that and make it, and it's okay. Anywhere that we have water still sitting tomorrow on top of planted beans. And I don't know if it matters too much if they're merged or not because that ground is saturated underneath. So I'm not going to, I don't know that for sure. But anywhere that we still have water sitting on beans tomorrow, we have to keep a very, very close eye on. There's a pretty high likelihood we'll have to patch in some spots. So it just depends on how severe it is and what things look like. But we've got sunshine and heat now. These plants want to take off. They want to grow. They want to suck up carbon dioxide. They want to bring that water out of the soil and grow as fast as they can. So I still think we're off to a really good start. You know, the alternative to planting last week when conditions were ideal for a while there was you didn't because there's potential rain coming or it was too early or whatever else. Do you know how much of a wreck I would be if I was sitting here on May 7th, just getting 2.8 inches of rain, not going to be in the fields for over a week, and be like the stress level would be through the roof. I'm so much better spot because we are 2/3 planted, and like I feel really good about where we're at. Yeah, we might have to patch some stuff in. We might have some corn that's having a bad day here, but the alternative of not having anything or not having very much planted is far worse, in my opinion. So that's where we're at. So tomorrow's plan. What are we going to do tomorrow? We're probably going to keep looking around at stuff. We might do a little driving around. I would love to get that truck returned, so I might wash that and try and work on that a little bit. We need to keep a real close eye on our wheat. We need to be spraying our wheat right now, and it's kind of too wet to do so. I mean, I had a way to do that. Frustrating. Anyway, we'll see what that brings. I also have an event tomorrow night that I'll probably tell you about tomorrow. I'm pretty excited for. Yeah. Bin's down, so that's good. We'll keep an eye on our building project. We still have a little bit of work to do on the corn planter. I will try and keep you guys in the loop on that as well. But yeah, that's where we're at. So thanks for watching today. Have a great rest of your night. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And we'll see you in the morning.